Tokusatsu, a juggernaut of Japanese television with new series airing every single year. With years and years worth of Kamen Rider, Super Sentai, Ultraman, and a whole bunch more, I've got plenty to cover. So welcome to another Toku Retrospective. This program is brought to you by the subscribe button. This time we're looking at another Sentai that came out 10 years ago. Tokumei Sentai Go Busters is the 36th entry into the Super Sentai series, starting in 2012 directly after the end of the 35th anniversary season, which I've covered in another video. There were actually a few comments on that Gokaiger video expressing distaste for Go Busters in particular. Now, I'm not sure why that is exactly, but it would make sense that coming off the high of Gokaiger, that people might have had overwhelmingly high expectations for the series that followed, and thus be harsh in judging it. But in terms of quality, I don't think Go Busters loses out at all. It doesn't have the benefits of the sweeping crossover elements that Gokaiger had, but as its own Sentai season, Go Busters has a lot going for it, but I'll get more into that later. Go Busters takes place in a distant future 2012 of a different era, where a powerful new energy source known as Enetron has been developed. However, an organization known as Bagras begins attacking from another dimension and stealing Enetron. The Go Busters are a special force created by the Energy Management Center to stop Bagras and defend humanity. The main team consists of 3 members. Red Buster is Sakurada Hiromu. He's cool and capable, but he's not great at social cues or working with a team at first. Blue is Iwasaki Ryuji, the oldest of the team and the voice of reason of the group. Yellow Buster is Usami Yoko. She's the youngest of the Busters and can be short-tempered, often getting into fights with Hiromu. But as the series goes on, they establish a rapport and become proper teammates and friends. Yoko is played by Komiya Arisa, who has been in several other tokusatsu works, but is most well known for her role as Daya in Love Live Sunshine. If you're one of the few people like me that are fans of both Sentai and idol anime, then hello, you are very cool. Each of the Go Busters has a special power that was implanted into them like a computer program, but they each come with some weakness. Hiromu has super speed, but a bizarre phobia of chickens that causes him to freeze up when he sees one. Ryuji has super strength, but he overheats and loses control if he overuses it. Yoko's power is in her legs, which gives her a powerful jump and kick, but she also has to keep herself charged with sweets to operate. Each member is also partnered with a buddy-roid, robots with advanced AI that assist in piloting the Buster machines, and their combined forms, the Megazords. Hiromu's buddy-roid, Chita-Nick, acts like a brother to Hiromu. He has a positive outlook and tries to get Hiromu to come to understandings with his teammates. He can also transform into a bike, which serves as Hiromu's primary mode of transportation. Ryuji's partner is Gorisaki. He's big in size but gets nervous easily and is always worried for Ryuji's safety. Yoko's buddy-roid is Usada. He's a cheeky little guy and likes to tease the rest of the team. He really cares about his teammates though, getting hysterical when Yoko is in danger. The primary antagonist for most of the series is Enter, a flamboyant French-speaking man who serves an evil virus called Messiah. He creates the monsters, the Metaroids, by infecting objects with metaviruses, and also transports Bagras's own Megazords to attack the Enetron tanks. While we're on the topic of Megazords, I should mention that Go Busters is one of the few Sentai series to reference Power Rangers, the more widely known American series that adapts and uses footage from Sentai. As mentioned before, the giant robots on both sides are called Megazords, and the Busters' Morph Embrace uses the catchphrase from MMPR, "It's Morphin' Time." Despite this, Go Busters would not be picked up as a Power Rangers series until much after its initial airing. After Power Rangers Super Mega Force, the Gokaiger equivalent that I'd rather not dwell on, Saban skipped straight to adapting the series after Go Busters, Kyoryuger, as Power Rangers Dino Charge. It was only after 4 years and an ownership change to Hasbro that Power Rangers took on Go Busters with Power Rangers Beast Morphers. As the name suggests, the Power Rangers versions lean a bit more in on the animal theme. Funnily enough, that makes it similar to the Go Busters v Cinema movie from after the series, where in an alternative universe, the Go Busters are an animal Sentai, but more on that later. Another unusual aspect of Go Busters is that the plot is much more somber than most Sentai. 13 years prior to the events of the series, Hiromu's father discovered Messiah was threatening to invade the human dimension by infecting his research facility. To prevent this, he isolated the facility in hyperspace, but implanted a vaccine into the 3 Busters, who were children at the time, and transported them outside before doing so. The mysteries of hyperspace, Valgras, and what happened to the researchers all unravel slowly through the series. Go Busters is quite a bit slower paced than most of its brethren as well. The combined robot doesn't make its first appearance until the 6th episode, where most other modern Sentai would have debuted one by episode 2. The Busters get much more use out of their personal machines than other Sentai, and the mecha sequences in general are of a higher caliber than the average Sentai. The sense of scale is more emphasized, combining the slow movements of the suit actors and the increased usage of shots angled upwards, all so that the robots really seem gigantic. Sentai has shared ideas with mecha anime ever since the first giant Sentai Robo debuted in Battle Fever J in 1979. But Go Busters is one of the few Sentai that feels like a real robot anime more than a super robot one. The base and the hangar get a lot more attention and care than they might otherwise, with the mechanical crew even dancing alongside the rest of the cast in the ending song. The Go Buster suits also trade the traditional spandex for pleather, making them unique among Sentai while remaining fairly simple and being very practical. There's definitely more of an emphasis on explaining the fantastical science fiction elements in Go Busters and making everything feel more grounded. Cinematographer Fumio Matsumura said as such in the making of Pilot, stating that his goals in shooting the series were to give it a more mature and realistic feel. Action director Hirofumi Fukuzawa and special effects director Hiroshi Fuda also expressed a desire to have that sense of reality in Go Busters, with Fuda commenting on how Sentai hadn't done realistic mecha in several years, and how that affected the approach to the effects on the base's interior. The concern that I might have had is that in going towards realism, the show might lose its identity as a Sentai, as I believe a big part of Sentai's charm comes from not needing to be chained to reality. That's the reason I had and continue to have no interest in seeing the 2017 Power Rangers movie. However, Go Busters does not trade its Sentai charm in for its more practical sensibilities. While it does have a bit of a different design philosophy, it doesn't stray far from Sentai's core visual appeals, and it follows the tried and true Sentai formula. The show is still a Monster of the Week series with character-focused episodes designed to sell toys to kids. Despite the tragic elements of the main plot, general episode plots usually remain pretty light, and it's still full of comedic moments between its characters. The Buddy Roids especially keep the heart of the show alive. Ironically, the robots are the ones keeping the cast feeling human with their comic relief and heartfelt focus episodes. It's also not like these giant animal-based combining robots or transforming data-infused heroes were ever truly realistic to begin with. Director Takayuki Shibasaki put it very well in the making of video, when he said that rather than focusing on whether the Go Busters are real, I'd like to create the atmosphere around them. In episode 15, 2 new Go Busters, Beat and Stag Buster, are introduced. Their identities are Masato Jin and his buddy droid Beat J Stag. Jin was one of the engineers that was trapped in hyperspace 13 years ago. His real body is still in hyperspace, but he found a way to send Jay to Earth alongside a virtual avatar body for him to use in the same way that Enter acts on Earth. Jin becomes a new mentor figure for the Busters, and has a lot to teach them, despite acting selfish and being a bit of a show-off. Jin is played by a veteran Sentai actor Matsumoto Hiroto, who played Majiyello 7 years prior. Jay serves as a wacky sidekick to Jin, often unintentionally stealing his thunder, much to Jin's chagrin. Soon after, a new villain is also introduced, Escape, a femme fatale who views Messiah as her father. She and Enter form a truce while competing over Messiah's favor. Go Busters is one of the only Sentai to have 2 opening songs, the first being Busters Ready Go, and the second being Morphin Movin' Buster Ship. With the new opening, the main plot of the show continues, with the Busters' efforts to enter hyperspace, culminating in a showdown with Messiah, who now has a physical form, Messiah Cell. Messiah reveals that he had turned the researchers, including the Busters' parents, into data and assimilated them into his core. The Busters are conflicted, but resolve themselves to destroy Messiah and protect their world no matter the consequences, and the Busters triumph over Messiah. Immediately following this is a crossover with the reboot of the Metal Hero series, the new Space Sheriff Gavan, who would be appearing in a movie that was set to air soon after the crossover episodes. Not really relevant, and a strange departure after the serious plot developments of the previous episodes, but it's good fun. After the crossover, the series gets back on track with the reveal that Messiah survived in the form of backup data cards, which Enter scatters and allows to turn into Messiah Metaloids at indeterminate times. To combat the increased power of the new Metaloids, the EMC develops Powered Custom, new armors for the Busters that combines them with their Buddyroids. The forms are pretty cool, adding to the base suits while keeping to the practical aesthetics of the original designs. Enter and Escape get new forms as well. Enter Unite and Escape Evolve. The Busters find out that much of Jin's data was absorbed by Messiah, and that he is slowly dying. Then, after what seems like a pretty normal Christmas episode, Escape alongside a partially revived Messiah betrays Enter and wipes the floor with the Buster machines. The Busters, minus an injured Hiromu, get back into the fight and begin to gain the upper hand again, but Messiah continues to assimilate data, even absorbing Escape. But Hiromu comes back just in time to combine and land the finishing blow on Messiah once again. However, Enter and Escape weren't done for good, and they return to wreak havoc for the final 5-episode arc. This time, Escape is under Enter's control, and is continuously revived and reset to fight the Busters. The Busters are able to beat Escape and Enter, but it turns out that Enter had actually planted backup data into Hiromu, and has been reviving himself using it. Through this process, he has also copied Hiromu's skills and abilities, allowing him to transform into the Dark Buster. Jin figures out that by transferring Enter's data into his own body, he can stop him from reviving. However, Jin will be destroyed alongside him. The team refuses, but Jin convinces them that there's no other way. Jin goes through with the process while the others distract Enter. Jin's original body is lost, but his avatar remains for long enough to stand alongside the rest of the team against Enter in the final battle. The plot of Go Busters is perhaps a bit convoluted, but it's an enjoyable roller coaster of emotions and Sentai action. Go Busters is certainly not a conventional Sentai, but I think that's why I like it so much. In a series with an established formula like Sentai, it can be hard to stand out, so I really appreciate all the elements that make each series unique, and Go Busters is absolutely full of unique elements. It may be a bit different from its brethren, but it stands as a respectable member of Sentai's storied history. And as a member of the larger Sentai series, the Busters also of course appear in crossovers with other Sentai. They actually made a pre-season debut in the Gokaiger vs Space Sheriff Gavan movie. It became a bit of a tradition after the 34th Sentai Goseiger for Sentais to debut before their series started, usually in the crossover movie for the 2 previous series. For example, I forgot to mention in the Gokaiger video that they debuted in the Goseiger vs Shinkenger movie. Go Busters would have been the same. However, because the Gokaiger vs Goseiger movie came out earlier into Gokaiger's run in June rather than in the following January, the Go Busters debuted in another different crossover movie, which was of course Gokaiger vs Gavan. The Busters also had their proper crossovers with Gokaiger and Kyoryuger. The Busters also had significant roles in the first 2 Superhero Tyson crossover movies with Kamen Rider and Metal Heroes. They had their standalone mid-series movie Protect the Tokyo Ena Tower, and a reunion movie set before the end of the series proper. The reunion movie, as mentioned earlier, features an alternative version of the Go Busters, which is a parody of previous Animal Sentai. The movie speedruns moments that parody other Sentai with episode numbers and names to boot, and ends with a crossover of the 2 parallel teams. It's a fun concept that really highlights how different Go Busters is from many other Sentai. The Busters have had minor roles in other crossover events, but most notably, Jin and Jay came back for the 40th anniversary Sentai Jyoger's Super Animal Wars Blu-ray Special miniseries. The Busters may not be as well remembered as the legendary space pirates, but they were a great Sentai and a testament to how one series within the larger Sentai umbrella can have its own identity and still shine among the rest. I know I'll be waiting to see what the Go Busters' next mission will be. And speaking of the next mission, I love making these videos, but I need support so that I can keep making them. I've set up a Patreon for anyone that would like to support me directly, but you can of course also like and subscribe and help get another video noticed by the algorithm. No matter what you do, thanks, and I hope to see you in the next one.